Welcome back to part 3 of our Ex01 video for spring 2020, and we're going to make two charts. And the first chart we're going to make is going to be based on the cities and the totals, and that's all we need. So what we're going to do is you're going to highlight through these 6 cells. Now that's the easy part. The hard part, if you're on Windows, you have to hold Control and keep your Control key down and then highlight through these 6 cells so that you have 12 cells selected. And if you do that, you're in good shape. Then all you have to do is go to Insert and go to Charts, and you're going to use the column chart up here, the easiest chart, and just use the first one. And if you get something that looks like that, you're in pretty good shape. It means you did it correctly. And what you're going to see on here, if I scroll down, you'll see a column chart, and you'll see the cities along the bottom. You'll see the dollar signs over on the side, or the dollar amounts, and you'll have a chart title. And what you can also do while this is selected, if you go to this little pen here, they have some chart styles, and if you scroll down, you could kind of use something that looks pretty neat like that. I always like using this one, and that looks good. And then you can go in here and edit some of these things in here. Let me click off. You can go in here, and if you need to edit the chart title, it puts that on automatically. We're going to call this fundraising totals by city, or just fundraising by city. So we have fundraising totals by city, and keep in mind you could click on this and you could also type up here in the formula bar. This is called the formula bar, which we'll go over more. And what I'll do here, if I click on this again, you have this little plus sign. Now this won't show up on the Mac version. On the Mac version you have to use add chart element. You have to use this thing up here, but you can go here, and what we're going to do is we're going to add data labels, and I'm going to click on data labels first. And what data labels does is it puts the totals on top of there, and that looks nice. We can also put axis titles. If you click here, it'll put axis titles, one at the bottom and one on the side. There's a vertical axis title and a horizontal axis title. Now, I don't really need to use those right now because it's pretty obvious that this is currency, and it's pretty obvious that these are cities. So I'm just going to turn that off, but I just want to point that out that those are axis titles. And we don't need any legends or anything like right now because we don't have different colors. This is all we really need right now. And you can adjust it a little. If you click on these things, you can actually go to your Home tab and change the colors if you want. So if you wanted to make those yellow or something, I'll click on yellow. You can make them stand out and make them be yellow. So you can do anything like that. You can make them bolder, you can make them bigger, anything like that. If you wanted to make this thing a little bit of a lighter color, maybe you want to make it orange, you could do that. If you want to make it blue, you could do that. Maybe I'll do a nice kind of bright blue that stands out from the background. Although I think that's what we had anyway. Well, maybe I'll make it green. Anyway, whatever you want to do. So that's our chart, and I'm going to grab on the edge to move the chart around. Sometimes it's hard because you're going to go in here and you're going to click on things. If you want to move the chart, you got to use the quad arrow, that 4-sided arrow with the little points on, and kind of move that around. And you can resize it too. You can grab on the corner, resize it a little bit. Keep in mind sometimes these things will change. They might go on a diagonal or something like that, or these might run together. So you got to be careful with some of these things on here, but that looks pretty good for our first chart. And our second chart will be just as easy. So for our second chart, what we're going to do is we're going to do the fundraising activities, the corporate, direct mail, fun run, government, and phonathon, and then these are the totals over here. So we're going to do it the same way. You're going to highlight these 5 cells, and you're just going to drag down and highlight those 5 cells. And then if you're on Windows, you're going to hit your Control key, which I am, and then you'll highlight these so that you have 10 cells selected. You have 5 cells selected here and 5 cells selected there, and you're going to go to Insert Chart, and we're going to do a column chart, and there it is. That's what it looks like at first. And then remember, you can go here under the paintbrush and choose one of those styles like that. You could try something else as well, and I'll click off of that. And remember, if you just click on this chart title here, you could put, if you don't like typing in here, you could go up here and say fundraising totals by activity, and you could type up there. And then if you hit enter, it'll show up down here. And then also remember, the other thing we put on here was data labels. We're not going to use axes again. I'm just going to go here, or axes, and I'm going to go here to the plus, and I'm just going to check data labels again. And I can click on these. I don't know if they're white or not. I'm going to go to my home tab, and they don't look white. They look almost gray. So I'll make them white, and then I can even make them bold if I want to try something different. And that's about it. That's all I'm going to do here. And then I'm just going to take that and grab on the edge with the four-sided arrow and just move that here. And I don't care if they're a little bit different. I just want you to explore this a little bit. And that's all you really have to do now. If you had any problem, you could always just delete it and start it again if you had any problems selecting any of these cells. So this is what your finished project is going to look like for this exercise. It shouldn't take that long. My instructions will probably look a lot more confusing than this stuff does, because it really doesn't take that long to do. We just had to do some auto sums here in our spreadsheet. We did some auto sums, and we auto summed this stuff, and we just kind of formatted some things, some spacing, some auto fitting, and then we went in and just kind of adjusted the colors, some background colors. We threw little borders on at the end, and then we generated two charts, which were pretty easy to do. And these charts, you can copy and paste them and put them into Word documents or put them into PowerPoints, whatever you want to do with them. And also, everything can change. If it ever happened that, oh, corporates, we just found out Town of Cary was lying about their money and someone stole all of it and they don't have any, and you put in 0 in here, that would update all the totals. So all the totals in here would kind of change. And, fundraising by city, and now Town of Cary went down because they didn't do anything here for this kind of donation here. Now I'm just going to undo that, but keep in mind that everything's still connected. Because we're using formulas, everything's connected. So whenever you change a value in any of these, everything will update. And that's all you have to do. So once you save it, you just have to go back to your document, and I'll go back to still logged in, and you just have to upload your file. You can just go to choose if you don't remember doing this for a while, and I'm going to go find it. It's in my documents, and it's in my Excel folder. And there it is, my SaveSable River, HOMA. And that's an XLSX, and I'll hit open. And then you don't have to put any label or description here, just hit add file. And there it is. And don't forget, when you're done, you have to click on this thing. You have to click on this link here to upload it. And then you're done. So now it's uploaded. And if you have any problem with that, either closes, you need it reopened or anything, just let me know. So that's Ex01. That's kind of a short intro to Excel using the SaveSable River and making two charts from our formatted worksheet.